Okay, so let's talk about volumes here. Many of you know what volumes are, many of you don't. All these are a bounding box that control what happens within them. For example, there's probably a kill zone. Yep, a kill Z volume. So as it says there, a kill Z volume is a volume used to determine when an actor should be killed. I know that sounds really dark, but you guys may understand this. Like if you had hot lava, you could put this kill zone volume out there, and when your actor hit it, when your character or your player hit it, they would die automatically. Okay, so all it is like a bounding box. So if we scroll down here to post-processing volume, now we have a box that controls when we can see post-processing. I'm going to scale it up a little bit, and let's go ahead and do a test, all right? So if I select my camera, well, if I had just kept things organized, it'd be easy to find cameras in here, wouldn't it? So where are you, camera? Camera actor, right there. If I select this, it's working now because I'm in the bounding box. What happens if I exit the bounding box, though? Did my post-processing disappear? Okay, so notice that when we move this camera back and forth, we still have chromatic aberration. You see that? Let's go ahead and exaggerate the effects on the camera here, and I'll show you what's going on. So if I go to exposure, for instance, I can just crank this up here, or crank it down quite a bit, right? That's my exposure now. Now as I move this in and out, nothing changes. Now why is that? Well, it's because I get separate post-processing effects on this as the camera. So if I just reset this camera, in fact, I'll go ahead and delete it and drag a new camera in. Go to all classes, camera, drag that in. We get this camera view. What we do is we set the post-process effects on this volume right here. So I go down here and I crank up chromatic aberration, and I go here and I crank up the bloom like crazy, and then I go to exposure and crank it up. Okay, so now I have this camera view here. Watch what happens when I go into that box. Notice it changes. Do you guys see that? Let's make sure I have it all set up right. Okay, so if I select this while I'm in the cube, I can change. So I'll go ahead and crank my brightness. You can't see it now until I select the camera, so it is a little bit difficult to see both of them at the same time, but you can see how it's super brightened it up. If I select this, minimum brightness 10, max brightness 16, and when I select the camera, you see it totally changed it, right? So it is a little bit, it's not quite as intuitive to set up the volume this way. It's a lot easier to just click on the camera and set up post-processing here. However, this volume and volumes in general can help you with optimization, and that's a key word you'll learn throughout game design. This just helps it. This just makes it so that your processor isn't having to work as hard to do post-processing effects. It's only within this bounding box here. Okay, so I just wanted to show you quick what the volumes were here. There's a whole bunch of volumes we'll be getting into. Don't worry about that. Hopefully that made sense. Basically, I can set up post-processing on the camera, or I can do it in this post-processing volume, and my game will run a little bit faster and better. So with that, I will see you in the next lesson.